Everyone, today I'm going to be explaining my LEGO Inline 2 diesel. Yeah, that's what I'm actually going to be doing today. Everything that's unnecessary, the valve design, and all kinds of other stuff. So I'm going to get started. So first off, I want to say this engine has had a lot of different changes since I made the short about it. Biggest one being starter, and other than that, there's not a whole lot of things that change. Actually, the biggest thing is probably the extended valve cover to make it more realistic to the real engine. But it's really just an inline 2. I kind of stopped trying to be realistic with it. But I want to get started going over this entire engine. The engine that was originally based off of, the engine that it is now, and everything in between. So first, I want to start with, I'm going to go over what the belts do, and then I'm going to take the parts off so you can see how they work. So first off, this belt comes from this sprocket down here up to the top sprocket, which that top sprocket does nothing. Bottom sprocket's actually what drives it. This chain is the chain, this gear, this sprocket comes back and into this, which I'll go over this in a minute. This actually comes back, uses this motion converter from here down, then to the blower. Now I'll go over how the blower works and how it doesn't work at the exact same time. Next, I have this chain up to, on the engine that I based this off of originally, this is where the generator comes from. This is not an alternator. They're two different things, but if you can think of it that way, if it makes it easier for people to understand, then it is technically an alternator. And then you have the labeling. I call this engine the beaver engine just because, I don't know, I like beavers. This is just like heat shield goofy stuff. That is the starter. Well, let me go around to the back to show you guys that. Okay, so this is the starter cover. This is the starter cover, and I'll go over how the starter works in a minute. This is the flywheel then, and the valve cover, and the exhaust manifold, but I can go over that later. Next, I'm gonna take off all the parts and bits that aren't necessary to make this engine run. Okay, so then I have the starter mechanism, which I'll go over here in just a second. But starter mechanism, basically all you do is just set it, wait, come on. You set this right to about there, and then this long cam arm sits right there. So I'll get my vacuum onto it, and then I'll show you it in action. Vacuum's on, we set this. No, it's probably not gonna work now. Okay, alright, so then this is lined up. Take this little piece off, and I have this weird hand detail. And then it starts. As you can see, it actually does run a decent RPM. It runs especially well without the all the other stuff. Yep. Action. Let me do it again for anyway next step. Yeah. Parts I don't need to actually make this engine run, but I'll go over what all these do. Okay, I want to get started with the blower. So this blower is pretty simple. It is this is just cover again, and then this is how the blower works. You can see it's two rotors. It comes from this is from the engine down. There's a belt, another belt in there. Down, around, the two gears going here. The blower had to be timed, and then that's pretty simple for that. But you'll notice there's another sprocket on it. That's for the other thing. And this is the starter cover and the heat shielding things that don't do anything. Again, I say that. And more useless stuff that doesn't do absolutely anything. It's purely cosmetic. I think it looks better. So is the blower. The blower is completely cosmetic. This blower does not provide any extra performance. It actually decreases the performance because it adds friction and things to the engine. Then, this is the generator. The generator. This is what makes the power in a you don't this would go back to the batteries on the real engine, and yeah, this tire thing it goes on the side of the engine, and it's because fellow vacuum I actually don't really know him. It's Matt6, his inline 4. He has like how his starter works, because his starter is a lot different than mine. It shares some similarities, but it's different. And he has this like handle here, so I did the same thing for mine. It doesn't do anything. I was gonna make it work. I might actually be able to, but it just needs a lot more work. And there, belt. Those are just tires. Belt, and then rain cap, and that's another. That also goes in this pile. So doesn't this. So yeah, that's about it. The belt for that comes from that on this, and then moving on back to the valve engine. Design works. Because I actually did do this earlier, but the camera stopped recording. So, SVS. That's all it is. SVS. There's the crankshaft, comes back to the valves. I'll explain SVS sometime. Don't really want to do it right now, but yes, SVS engine. That's about it.